Hey everyone, I'm Chad Stewart. I'm a software engineer from Kingston, Jamaica. And I just wanted to ask you, did you embody a software engineer today? So the question's a bit personal, to be quite honest with you. It's actually a question that I've been asking myself within the last couple of weeks, and to kind of get to why I'm asking myself this is I kind of want to tell a quick story. So I've been trying, especially within the last 2 years, to kind of just better myself as an engineer. And one of the things that I want to do, there's a few things, is to, just to get better at writing code, to be able to actually produce projects. Because I feel like I'm a competent programmer, but I don't necessarily produce things from start to finish a lot. You know, it's like I'm knowledgeable enough to know how to put things together if need be, but I don't do that often. Right? I'm always like, oh, I can add this, and then I can add this, and I can add this, and I almost like I never really started with a project, right? Um, so that was something I wanted to do, and I pretty much tried everything. I tried, I have a very extensive schedule, and I pretty much have my day pretty well kind of planned out all the time. Um, and it's been great. It's been great, except for kind of maintaining these habits. I've actually tried tracking said habits, right? So I've tried tracking, did you write any code today? You know, did you do this? Did you do that? And, you know, I haven't been able to be consistent. Um, what I have found that's been helping me is pretty much asking myself this question: have I embodied a software engineer today? Um, so the idea comes from, first of all, all of this stuff that with habits and so on and so forth kind of comes from the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, where pretty much he proposes that try to better yourself 1% every day, you know. And I tried my best to kind of do that, right? Just to kind of take that idea. I even originally went with that idea, and even then I found myself not being as consistent as I wanted to. But the book also kind of gave me this advice, which I've been kind of taking, which is like the book describes that there are kind of levels of, man, I should have read this, but there's like there- there's there's like layers of, is it habit forming? I should have looked this up before I started this video. But the idea is, a lot of people, when they try to build habits, they try to build habits with extrinsic motivators. So they try to build a habit by saying, oh, I'm going to do this so I can do this, right? So for instance, the classic example, I am going to go on a diet so I can lose weight, or I can lose 10 pounds, or something like that. And the idea is it's extrinsically motivated, you want to accomplish a goal, the goal is outside of yourself, right? Like, you want something from the world, in a sense. Like, I'm doing a really poor job of describing what the extrinsic motivator is. um, but you have another way of thinking about habits, and it's a way that he suggests to to think about habits, or to think about installing habits, um, is intrinsic motivation. So the idea is that instead of I want this so I'm going to do this, I am going to do this because this is who I am. I'm literally, as I'm talking, I'm kind of remembering parts of the book. Like, the idea is that you don't do habits to achieve a goal. You do habits to express your identity, you know. And so the idea is, what identity do you want, and how do you express that through your actions, right? And something very specific from the book is whenever you do a habit or apply an action or whatever, you know, you cast a vote for the person you want to become, or you cast a vote for an identity. And so one of his stories he tells is that he knew somebody who was trying to lose weight, and she decided to go to say, you know, what would a healthy person do? And so whenever she was kind of put in a situation where she can potentially eat something unhealthy, she would ask herself the question, what would a healthy person do? And so I took that to heart, and I was just like, have I embodied a software engineer today? Um, so the way I've kind of done this is that I've chosen a few things um, that I feel embodies a software engineer. These are my opinions. These aren't. There isn't some fact. There isn't some software engineering law that floats around that will smite you if you don't do these things. These are things that I feel are important, and things that I want to work on myself, right? So some of the things are, you know, practicing web dev skills or just programming skills in general, just practicing programming every day, or 6 out of the 7 days a week, you know, for at least an hour, you know, just write code for at least an hour. Read about software engineering stuff, so documentation, articles, books, you know, just read something for an hour, you know. um, Talk to other engineers, you know, specifically in my mind it was talk to senior engineers, but talk to other engineers, talk to them about what they're doing, you know, talk to them about the things that they're working on, the skills that they have, their experiences, you know, stuff. Just talk, you know, just have a conversation, you know. Like, it's really difficult to grow when you don't know in which direction you need to grow. And so obviously that was kind of the reading and the talking to other engineers is supposed to do, right? It's supposed to kind of open your mind to new things, right? Um and I oh and most importantly, build something that delivers value. And I think this is extremely important because for me, I've always coded because it was fun, and I enjoyed doing it. And then there are points where it wasn't fun for me, and I stopped doing it mostly because it wasn't fun, you know. But I've always done it because the activity itself was fairly enjoyable, and I still kind of do it fairly because the activity is enjoyable, you know. But I never really coded for an end goal, which is funny because I always kind of think of myself as a person that wants to produce value. I want to solve problems, or a person that wants to solve problems, not necessarily produce value. That's not the statement that I have in my head, but a person that wants to solve problems, right? But I never really coded to solve problems. You know, I never really, hey, this is an issue. I can actually solve this problem through code, you know, through some software, you know. Let me try. You know, never really happened. And so that was a habit that I wanted to embody, is to try to deliver value or work towards delivering value. And so that doesn't necessarily mean that I have to have like something, and like or it doesn't mean that, oh, I have to have this grand project or something. Just even like stuff like this. Oh, one of the things, funny enough, is actually is actually teaching other engineers how to become better engineers, which is a habit that I want to embody, which is kind of the reason why you see me making these videos somewhat regularly. I say somewhat regularly, as in I've actually made one once a week for the last 2 weeks. Yay me! But um, I want to be able to deliver value through the code that I write. Anyways, I probably shouldn't get into the reason why I have these habits. I think the main thing that I really wanted to say is that if you're trying to grow as an engineer, you know, and you're having a hard time kind of figuring out how you need to grow, like you should you do need to kind of like have an idea of where you want to go, but to stay consistent, I would definitely recommend sitting down and just kind of coming up with like a mantra, you know, like a question to ask yourself and be like, have I done this to grow? Have I embodied a software engineer today? Like that's kind of my mantra. Like, so in my habit tracking, because I have all of these things as habits in my habit tracking, one of the habits is literally, have I embodied a software engineer today? And I have all of these habits and I follow them fairly well, which I'm really happy about. But the whole idea really is to have done one or two of these things a day, and for that day I can say that I embodied being a software engineer. I embodied being a software engineer by practicing. I embodied being a software engineer by reading documentation or articles or books. I embodied being a software engineer by talking to other software engineers about software engineering stuff. You know, I built something that that can potentially build value, or that I believe builds value, or I taught somebody how to be a better software engineer. And it's like, yeah, they're all generic, but like those actions, if I've done one or two of those, and preferably it's really just one, if I've done one of those actions per day, I have embodied being a software engineer. And I can say that I've kept up the habit of embodying being a software engineer. You know, no, I'm crazy, so like I actually have a fair amount of the habits on long streaks, which I'm really happy about. Um, but like I would encourage you to do the same. I would definitely encourage you to kind of come up with a mantra, of or a mantra-like statement that you ask yourself, and then you use that to kind of, and use your actions to install the identity that the mantra is kind of describing, right? So my mantra is, am I a, was I a software engineer today? That's my mantra, right? And my actions my actions says that I was a software engineer, and I can feel good about that, and it really helps. At least for me, like I've tried a fair amount of things to try and stay consistent, and a lot of them kind of fell by the wayside. Um, and I really feel good about this stuff. Like I feel it's weird because I feel bad about missing things to the point where I'll be like even yesterday it was 8 o'clock at night, and I'm just like, I'm ready to turn in. And I knew that there was a habit that I had missed for the day, which was reading documentation or just reading to expand my knowledge, right? And I was just like, screw it. You know what I mean? I'm going to make this habit today, and I felt bad. I had done pretty much all other things I had intended to do for that day. In the sense of maintaining the habit of embodying a software engineer, but like I wanted to do this one thing, and so I went out of my way to do it. You know. So one thing I also wanted to talk about really quickly, is like you will try to keep this up, and there'll be some days where where it's difficult, and then there's some days that you're not going to do it as well. Like there's going to be some days where the quality is just not going to be great, you know. But that's fine. It's fine, that at least you attempted to do something, and like you still embodied a software engineer that day. If that's your mantra, you still embodied the thing that you wanted to do, because you attempted to do it, like as opposed to saying, was I successful? It's just like, did you try for a specific period of time? And if you tried for a specific period of time, then you were successful. It doesn't matter if it produced anything or not. It like you tried to do something, like so. I just wanted to kind of talk about that because I feel really good about this, and I kind of wanted to share it with other people. I'm sorry if I'm not doing the best job of sharing it, but I definitely think like just kind of having like it's almost like a mission statement in the form of a question, right? Just having that mantra to really kind of push yourself into getting stuff done, to staying consistent. Like I think that that's really a really good thing, really helpful, Like if you want to be specific, it's about developing an identity, and then it's about developing an identity and then casting positive votes for 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 that identity. It's that, but like just asking yourself that question: did I do whatever you wanted to? What did you do what you wanted to embody? Like I should probably stop. I should probably stop. But yeah, just I would definitely encourage people to give it a try. I also really encourage people to read Atomic Habits by James Clear. I'll put a link in the description. I'm not sponsored by this. I really like the book. Um, like technically, this whole video is pretty much, hey, this book taught me to do this, and it's been working, so you should try it too. Um, like I said, I'm not sponsored by Mr. Claire, but it's been helping me, and I think it can really help you too, especially in this journey, either becoming a software engineer, becoming a junior engineer, you know, like getting better, becoming mid or senior. Like it's hard. It's hard. Like especially me, I'm kind of trying to move from mid to senior, and the amount of things that needs to get done is outrageous. And like it's very easy to want to quit, and to be quite honest, it's very easy to quit, but like this has really been helping me kind of stay consistent, you know and so I just wanted to share that. Anyhow, thank you very much for watching this video, for listening to me rant about about madness for for a couple of minutes. But thank you very much for listening to this video, and you have a good one.